Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel Vortigon Gaming. Let's run some Mythic Plus dungeons in World of Warcraft. Today we will be watching back a Throne of the Tides level 21 that I ran as an Arcane Mage. The weekly affixes are Tyrannical, Afflicted, and Bolstering. I will be doing my best to give an overtalk of the dungeon run. If you're into that kind of content, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, on this first pull here, we're going to go ahead and pop Lust. The Lust profile of this dungeon is pretty straightforward. If you pop Lust here, you'll have Lust back up in time for boss number 2. And if you pop Lust on boss number 2, you'll have it back up in time for boss number 4. This dungeon overall is pretty straightforward. That being said, there are going to be some problem points. On top of that, when I signed up for this dungeon, I thought it was going to be a level 20. Surprise, it is a level 21, so it is, well, it did turn out to be a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Indeed, you'll see here that everyone else on the team actually died in that pull. And I think that was from the fact that we killed all the other adds pretty quickly, so the guy we're targeting right now had like 10 stacks of Bolstering on him. Bolstering is something you want to watch out for. When you're killing these adds, you want to make sure that all the adds die at about the same time, so that you don't have to deal with one add that has like 10 stacks of Bolstering like we did right here. Anyway, heading on to the next pack here. This is a Tyrannical week, so the ad pulls in this dungeon aren't going to be too bad this week. There are a few things that you need to watch out for. This pack is not one of the hard pulls in this dungeon, so we're just taking it easy right here. The only thing I'm really looking for here is opportunity to use my Shifting Power ability. Shifting Power is an ability that I have that reduces the amount of time left on my cooldowns before they're available again. And you'll notice that my Time Warp cooldown is at, well, it just changed over to 3 minutes. I'll be looking to reduce that so I can use it again before we get to the, well, the Tooth boss. I'm actually using the talent that allows me to give myself Bloodlust even when we have a Bloodlust debuff. You'll notice that I have the Temporal Displacement debuff on me, in kind of near the top right corner. And even when I have that on me, I can still pop Bloodlust on myself and give myself some extra haste in case I need it. And for this dungeon, since it is a pretty straightforward Lust profile, I am looking to use it at least 1 or 2 more times over the course of this dungeon run. See if there's like a good place to use it. Typically, a good place to pop personal Lust on myself is in these trash pulls coming up, since this is about the halfway point between the first pull of the dungeon and boss number 2. That being said, it is a Tyrannical week, so I don't know how much the personal Bloodlust is needed, but it does help a bit, especially if you're running keys that are, you know, higher than a level 21, where you might want to have some of that extra damage just to get through these pulls quicker. As you can see, these adds, we didn't kill them at the same time as all the other ones, so they have been beefed up a bit by that Bolstering affix, so they are a little bit more dangerous here. You'll also notice that we do have the Afflicted affix, so it is a good idea for me to set a focus on some of these targets. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy and I forget to, you know, set the focus on the target. The idea with setting a focus on the target is that you can easily swap to the Afflicted affix when you need to, dispel the Afflicted affix so it goes away, then you could swap back to the target that you were facing and continue to do damage. Anyway, we're going into this next pull here. I almost have personal Bloodlust off cooldown. I don't think I use it on this pull. I think I use it on the next pull. I would say this pull isn't too bad. Okay, this pull is kind of bad, but it could be worse. I think the main thing here I'm looking to do is just to interrupt, I think that's the Oracle that I have target. I'm pretty sure there's an Oracle in this pack right here. But there is one ad that does the healing wave. You want to make sure that that doesn't go off, since that will heal another ad in that pack, and then you have to spend more time like doing damage to that ad right there. And do I use... I think I use Lust on this pool. No, I don't. Because I don't have my cooldowns yet. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a time where I have a big pull. And I also have my main cooldowns for Arcane Mage. If you don't know how to play Arcane Mage, basically Arcane Mage, the rotation, has two phases. The burn phase and the conserve phase. The burn phase is basically you apply Radiant Spark to a target. You cast 5 spells on the target. This is what I'm doing right now. One of those spells being an Arcane Barrage, and as the barrage travels toward the target, you hit Touch of the Magi. And the idea is that Radiant Spark and Touch of the Magi both give you burn windows to do as much damage as you can to the target. And then once Touch of the Magi falls off the target, you switch into the conserve phase, which is basically use your spells in such a way that you have enough mana for the next burn phase. Even at a level 21, I don't think it's too important to get all the details of the rotation down perfectly. As long as you get the general gist and overview of the rotation, and you don't die to dungeon mechanics that you shouldn't be dying to, should be pretty straightforward to clear the dungeon. Especially if you do have teammates on your team that are a bit more experienced than you and kind of carrying you through. I think the warrior here is quite geared up, actually. I think the warrior has some experience running some much higher level dungeons, and you'll see him pop off a little bit, as they say. Alright, so we're going into this next pull. Looks like we're doing a double pull. It's a bit risky to do here, since if some of the ads die before the others, well then the remaining ads, the ads that are left over, are going to be beefed up with that bolstering affix, and that's going to take a while for the bolstering stacks to drop off them. You can see it kind of happening a little bit right now. Luckily, we are kind of evening out how much damage is going into those ads. This is a bit iffy to deal with, though. Luckily, we've got him down. And that looks like that's going to be it for dealing with the ads in here. We can actually leave those ads that you saw a couple seconds ago. We could actually leave them. We don't have to deal with them. It saves a bit of time. The only thing is that when we get into boss number 2, it's going to be... you're basically going to have to watch where you're going so that you don't mistakenly kind of shadow pull them. But we'll worry about that when we get there. For now, let's just deal with what we need to do for boss 1. Basically, get this boss down to, I think it's like 70 or 60% health. And then that will spawn some ads around the room that we have to take down. Also, just dodge stuff and don't die. Focus Tempest does do a bit of damage to some players in the group. So I'm looking to have I actually have a ability that puts a shield on everyone. It's called Mass Barrier. I still have like 35 seconds left on that cooldown, but that is a good ability to have available whenever the Focus Tempest comes out, in case some of my teammates, like that warrior right there who just went down to half health, he could have done good with me giving him Mass Barrier. Luckily, our healer seems to be on top of things for this run, so I don't think we needed to worry too much about helping the team when we have a healer this good. Anyway, we are into phase 2 of the boss fight where we have to take out the ads. This part's pretty straightforward, just us interrupt the ads, kick the ads, stun the ads, and then burn them down so we can get the boss back into phase 1. We can do some damage to it. Right here, I noticed during the boss fight that the temporal displacement debuff is going to drop off soon, which means we will have Lust ready to go on pull for boss 2. So I'm not looking to burn my cooldowns on this boss. I want to use my cooldowns in a way that I have them ready to go on pull for boss 2. So if it comes down to... I actually forgot how this went for me. But typically in this situation, I would make sure that I'm not, you know, burning too much DPS on the boss in the last phase of this boss fight, right after we kill these ads. So that way, my cooldowns are ready to go when we actually go into boss 2. This will just take a couple seconds here. These ads down, and then we go back into the boss fight. And it looks like I did pop a burn here. You see I put Radiant Spark and Touch the Magi on the target. Luckily, I think it does take a little bit to burn this boss down. And then, of course, there's a bit of roleplay that we do after this boss fight. But that's going to do it for boss number 1, so, you know, we give ourselves a slash cheer, move on to the next part of the dungeon. Right here, there is a bit of roleplay with opening the door here. There's a cutscene we can skip. And you'll notice that Touch of the Magi only has 6 seconds left on cooldown, so we're actually ready to go into a burn for this boss. So on pull, we pop Lust, and we start doing as much damage as we can. Here you do want to watch your footing. Number 1, we have a pack of ads that we did not clear earlier over to our left, so we don't want to get knocked back into them. We also want to sidestep those swirlies, and then when those swirlies come out, they're going to be basically blobs of goo that will run after us. And as long as we hit them with some kind of damage, they should get knocked back. So we don't have to worry about you know, them running after us and us taking a bunch of damage from their goo that they leave on the floor. We also have an Afflicted Soul. We do need to take care of that. More swirlies are out, which means more ads next time. Knockback is coming out. I'm always checking where I'm standing so that I don't get knocked back over into that pack of ads that we saw over on the other side of the room. And other than that, this boss fight is pretty straightforward. The one thing is, it is a Tyrannical week, so it is kind of an endurance test. Okay. Afflicted souls are coming out. And I think we do one more round of the ads chasing us before we take this boss down. This is actually a pretty good week for our Arcane Mage, since the Afflicted Souls, we do have stuff to deal with that, specifically the Remove Curse, which is what I've been using to kind of deal with the Afflicted Souls. Okay, ads are running after us. Basically hitting them with anything will knock them away from you. That ring coming out from the monk was actually pretty smart of him. Takes care of all of them at once. We dodge a swirly, and that's going to do it for boss number 2. So we give ourselves a slash cheer and move on to the next part of the dungeon. Then after the boss fight, it looks like we did take care of these. I totally forgot about us going back to clear these ads. But I think that was a pretty efficient way of doing it, since Lust pretty much came online almost right when we were coming out of boss 1 into boss 2. And so we could do these ads kind of in the meantime, going from boss 2 to boss 4 when we're out looking Lust to come back online for us. So for these guys, there is, I think if you stand like in the lights right here, that is the safe zone. I also have some blinks. Use my blink right here to get by that. real quick. And then as we come back to the beginning of the dungeon, you'll see that the side pathways have opened up. Our tank's going to go ahead and double pull right here. These adds are a bit of a pain on a fortified week. This is Tyrannical week, so it's not going to be as bad, but you do have to kick them and stun them out of their casts, or else everyone dies, basically. I think the pull-in from that octopus guy can be LOS'd. The Watcher does. I forgot what the cast is called, but he's also not really standing somewhere where I can LOS him cleanly. So you kind of just have to deal with that tentacle mechanic right there. That doesn't matter too much since he is about to die right here. There is a pull with 2 of those guys later up in this hallway. That's if you don't have like a pillar between you and the guys, you could get pulled in quite a bit, and it is a bit difficult to deal with you know, doing a burn and doing damage to the guy if you're, you know, always being pulled in and having to run out of that purple circle before it goes off. Arcane Mage is one of those classes where you kind of have to stand still almost all the time to get your damage off, since there is a cast time on a lot of your spells. I would say the hardest thing about Arcane Mage is just minimizing the amount of movement that you need to do so that you can actually do the damage that you need to when you need to do it. Alright. In hindsight, I do realize that I could have maybe popped Lust on myself in this hallway, since there was enough time to do it. I also forgot to take care of the Afflicted Affix, so you'll notice that my haste was decreased by, I think it was 100% there. That's not something you really want to have happen. Luckily, no one died right there. Nothing bad happened. That is something you do want to be on top of, though. Alright. This is the pull I was talking about earlier with the two Watchers. You see there is a pillar to my left I can LOS. I can break LOS with that pillar. We are going to pull the Watchers along with the group of minions, though, right here. I did want to stand behind the pillar, break LOS, so that the tentacle mechanic wouldn't pull me out of shifting power. It is important that I lower the amount of time left on my cooldown so that I have some stuff ready to go. So I can burn these guys down pretty quickly. Remember to reapply any buffs in case one of your teammates dies, so that you know, they do have that extra bit of help going into you know, an important pull like the third boss fight right here. This is maybe my least liked boss of this dungeon, and it is only owing to the totem mechanic here. I found that there's not really a good way to line up the burn windows with the mechanics for this boss fight. Whenever I want to do a burn on the boss, he ends up summoning a totem, and then I have to swap over to the totem, so I do lose a little bit of damage. However, it is important to burn this totem down as quickly as you can so it doesn't overwhelm your team. And of course, dodge the Earth Fury swirlies under your feet. There are 5 of them in total, so if you're good at counting, you can count up to 5, and then once the 5th one drops, you can sidestep that, stop moving, go back to doing damage. Other than that, this boss fight is pretty straightforward. Up until when he hits 25%, then that minion that's on his head jumps off his head. It starts doing another set of mechanics that you have to deal with. Looks like it's going to take us a bit of time before we get there. So, you know, we'll worry about that when we get there. Afflicted Affixes do need to be dealt with. Right. I think there's one more. There's an Earth Fury. I think there's one more totem that comes out before he phases, or maybe not. Yeah, there's one more totem. Luckily, the totem disappears if we get him down to 25 health. Right here, I actually misread how much time was left on that that cast right there. I was hoping I could get one of the Afflicted Affixes down and then blink behind one of the pillars and hide. You need to LOS for that. I don't think it was really needed for the rogue to come over and res me. It seems like, you know, the rogue and the warrior have enough DPS, you know, to just get through the rest of this fight. But resing me does add a little bit more DPS. It means we could take him down easier. Give ourselves this last cheer and head on to the last part of the dungeon.
I am weary. You must carry on without me. I shall
Still have 11.5 minutes to go. We have more than enough time to get through this dungeon and time it. We also do not have the Lust debuff anymore, so Lust is ready to go for the 4th boss pull. This part of the dungeon can be a little bit hard. It is a Tyrannical week though, so the ads in this hallway are not as buffed as they could be. There are some things to watch out for here though, like the swell mechanic coming out of the sentry. I believe whenever you kill one of these ink blobs, they put a debuff on you that stacks, and then the swell does more damage based on how many stacks of that debuff you have on yourself. So that is one thing to watch out for here. The other thing is that group of ads later on in this hallway that all have, you know, spears. They have that Aqua Blast cast, I think it is. You do want to kick them and stun them as much as you can so that they don't get any of those casts off and, you know, one-shot you or anything. Also, the camera in here can be a little bit wonky since it is a narrow hallway. But you do want to move your camera around a bit so that you know where the Afflicted Affixes are, so you can, you know, dispel them when you need to. Alright, so pulling this guy when we have all those stacks on ourselves is a bit risky. Luckily, they will drop off before we get too far into the swell mechanic, so he's not doing as much damage as he could be. And then once we take care of this guy, we'll go ahead and run through these ink blobs, take them down, and then go to the next ad, or next group of ads, I should say. I maybe didn't need to do Dragon's Breath there, since the other, you know, DPS on my team seemed to have already dealt with the ads by stunning them. Kind of doubled up on the stuns a little bit. I also have Mass Barrier, so in case I need to, you know, save some of my teammates, I can pop a shield on everyone. I also think I used my main cooldowns for that pull. I was afraid that I wouldn't have them up by the time we pulled boss number 4. But I also remembered I have shifting power, which reduces the amount of time left on my cooldowns. And also that this pull right here would maybe take a little bit of time to get through. And I don't necessarily need all of my cooldowns back up as these guys die, since there is, like, I think 10 seconds of roleplay before the boss becomes targetable. And so I only need for there to be like 10 seconds left on my cooldowns instead of having my cooldowns ready to go on pull.
The beast has returned. It must not pollute my waters.
Okay. So the main way to do this boss fight is basically drop the ink pools kind of all together near the boss, and then when they target you, when this guy targets you with the beam, this guy on the left right here, you just run over the ink pools and get him out of the way. And then other than that, you know, kill ads, kill the boss, and that's pretty much it.
My waters are cleansed. Drink in their power.
One thing you do want to do is interrupt the ink blast from these bigger ink blobs. And I believe the smaller ones are the ones that drop the ink pools. So next time the ink pools come out, it's usually a good idea to drop those ink pools next to the ink pools that have dropped from the ads. We'll go ahead and move out of those. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. Also, don't get hit by that frontal cone targeting the tank right there.
Drink in their power.
The burn windows for Arcane Mage line up pretty nicely with the ink blob mechanic. So basically what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see whether or not the friendly ad puts a beam on me. And if they don't put a beam on me, I'm free to, you know, do a burn. Right? If they do put a beam on me, I'm still free to do a burn, but I also have to use some of my other abilities so that I can run while doing the burn. Something like Presence of Mind, which I still have 2 seconds left on the cooldown right now. But that will let me cast abilities like Arcane Blast without having to stand still and cast them. And so that will let me, you know, move around a little bit and take care of the ink blobs while also still doing damage to the boss. Right? You should be watching where the tank is standing here so that you don't get caught out in that frontal cone Merc Spew, which is being cast right now. And then once this man is down to 0 health, we switch to targeting the boss itself, which is, I believe, Ozumat. And at that point, it's basically just keep yourself alive and do as much damage to the boss as you can. And then once you take that boss down, that's pretty much going to do it for this dungeon. You do still have to worry about the Afflicted Affixes, so I do have, I do position my camera in such a way that I can take care of that. It looks like my teammates aren't going to see the other one. That is going to go off and kind of slow down our casting. But it's not going to be too big of a deal since this boss is going to go down in a couple seconds. And that is actually going to do it for Throne of the Tides level 21 as an Arcane Mage. We'll give ourselves a slash cheer for beating the dungeon. Thank everyone for a clean run and even congratulate them for beating the dungeon on time. And as always, we are an Arcane Mage, so we'll do a kindness and give everyone a portal back to the main hub of the expansion. And that's going to about do it for this run. So if you liked what you saw here, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to see me run any other dungeons in Dragonflight Mythic Plus Season 3, let me know in a comment down below which dungeon you'd like to see me run, and I'll do my best to film a playthrough of it. Anyway, that's going to about do it for me here, so I hope you all had fun watching, and I will see you all later.